New Independence Network. It is a happy day. We are one day removed from the day after the election. Very happy day. The democracy worked. Government worked. And Donald Trump did the job. Amazingly, it actually works. How about that? How about that, Republicans? How about that, establishment Republicans, lazy establishment Republicans? If you actually talk to the people, your actual base, the actual American people, don't alienate those who are, like Mitt Romney said, the 47%. You actually reach out to everybody and treat Americans like Americans because we all have a voice and we're all part of this. You actually could win. You don't have to specifically break it down to demographics, which is what the Democrats always do. They break it down to demographics. It's women, it's Hispanics, it's blacks, it's Latinos, it's gays, it's LGBTQ. It's always some group, some division, something to split this country apart. That is what Democrats do. Republicans, you do it too. Establishment Republicans, you do it too. Most of you do. You know the ones I'm talking about. Mitt Romney, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, all these knuckleheads. Paul Ryan is virtually the same way. You divide everything because you're actually afraid of what the media says about you. The media says that you are racist and you're bigoted and you're homophobic and that you have to have the Hispanic vote and you have to have the independent vote, and they say all of this about you, and you believe every minute of it because the establishment Republicans are stupid. Donald Trump showed you how it is done. He did what Ronald Reagan did. How about that? The greatest president we've had, one of the greatest presidents we've had, maybe the greatest in the 20th century. And he's a Republican president. And he turned this country around from its malaise under Jimmy Carter. And it became a phenomenal juggernaut. I mean, the worldwide profile of America exploded in the 80s under Reagan. Our economy was booming. We became a force in the world. We were so powerful that we stopped communism in Russia or helped expedite the fall of communism. It was a big deal. And you won't. How many times have we even said, even Newt Gingrich said it back in 2012, the era of Reagan is over. No, it's not. This is the era of Reagan. This is what Donald Trump is doing. He's modeling, and he modeled his campaign after Ronald Reagan. Even Ronald Reagan during his campaign said, I forget which campaign it was, whether it was the 84 campaign or the 80 campaign. I think it was 80 because we were in such a bad shape. I mean, unemployment was through the roof. We had gas lines. The country was falling apart. Our respect around the world was a mess. We'll talk about that later, by the way, about the respect around the world under Republicans versus Democrats. But the country was in such bad shape. And Ronald Reagan, during one of his campaigns, or during the 80 campaign, I think it was, said, we have to make America great again. It wasn't his main slogan. Morning in America was his main slogan. But Make America Great Again was there. It was a subtext. It was used often. Guess what? That's what Trump's slogan was. How about that? Trump was Reagan. Trump is Reagan. Yes, Trump was never the governor of California, but they treated Trump the exact same way as they treated Reagan. They just treated Reagan as an amiable dunce, as a moron, as incompetent, unqualified to lead. He was only an actor. Whereas Trump, it's like, oh, he's just a reality TV star. He was just a business owner. He's a reckless. He's dangerous. He doesn't have a clue. He's unqualified. You know what I found ironic? I found ironic that Barack Hussein Obama was actually out there on the stump saying that Trump was unqualified. If anybody was unqualified, it was Obama. Obama had no clue. He was what? A state senator for a minute? Then he was a U.S. senator for 180 days. Before that, he was a community organizer. That's it. A community organizer. And when people started to call him out on only being a community organizer, I remember, and I thought it was Nancy Pelosi. I still can't find the soundbite, but I thought it was on Fox one morning. It was a soundbite, and she said, Jesus was a community organizer. That's really funny. I love how the Democrats always turn to Jesus or the Bible or Scripture when they need it the most, to their advantage. Just like they turn to minorities and women. They use minorities and women the same way they use the Bible, and that's use them. They use minorities and women to get their point across, to make them feel better, to make them seem like they're more inclusive, and to actually get votes. And then they discard them. Same with the Bible. They will use the Bible, they will use Scripture to get the votes, to try to make themselves feel better, to make themselves seem like they're actually healing and care, and then they'll throw it away and pee all over it. That is what Democrats do. You know, Hillary Clinton, on that topic, she had her concession speech. It was like watching everyone's saying, oh, the concession speech was the best speech she ever gave. They say that every time. Every time since I can recall. Mitt Romney gave his concession speech. Oh, if he would have done that before during the campaign, that was the best ever. If he would have done that during the campaign. Same with Gore. Al Gore in 2000 gave his concession speech. Oh, if Al Gore would have done that, he would have beaten Bush. Why didn't we see that during the campaign? Hillary Clinton the same way. The greatest speech she ever gave. It never fails, kids. It never fails. And you know why the speech is so good as a concession speech? Because you're done. Because you're done. You have to resign yourself to defeat. And when you resign yourself to defeat, you become humble. For a minute, but you're humble. You have to present at least humility in that respect. You are humbled because you just got your ass whooped. But you have to present an air of humility at that time. And that's what Hillary Clinton did. She came across as somewhat humble. And behind her eyes, she's seething. You could just see it. You know, behind every happy glance or accepting little glance that you get from these politicians, these Democrats, like today. You know, we're here on Fox News. I'm watching Fox News. Trump is getting ready to show up to the White House to meet Obama. And Obama's going to shake his hand, and they're going to offer platitudes. And behind Obama's greeting, his eyes, his welcoming eyes, he still thinks that Trump is the president of the KKK, which is what he said on the stump. Behind his eyes, it's how can I destroy this man? How can I destroy Republicans and finish destroying this country? That will always be there. Barack Obama will always want to destroy America as we know it and reshape it into a socialist, liberal Mecca. That's what he wants to do. They want to take guns away. They want to take away individual liberties and freedoms. They want full control and reliance upon the government. The Republicans need to understand that. You know, watching this, waiting for Trump to show up to the White House here. I remember when Bush showed up, or when Bush was president and Obama showed up to the White House, Bush gave him a really nice gift. It was, I believe it was an inkwell, I believe, or I think it was they gave a journal to, I think they gave a journal to Michelle Obama, and I think they had an inkwell made of wood, like a pen stand, made of wood from a former slave ship. Like, it was pretty cool. You know, it's a really meaningful thing. So I wonder if Barack Obama is going to give the gift to Trump and Melania like he gave to the Queen of England when he was first elected. If you remember the gifts they exchanged upon their first meetings. This is, of course, after he took the bust of Winston Churchill out of the Oval Office and gave it back to Britain and said, "To hell with you, we don't care about Winston Churchill," which was spit in the face, ridiculous embarrassment. But the gift that Obama gave, do you remember the gift that he gave to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of England, who has been queen longer than Obama has been alive? Do you remember that gift? He gave her an iPod that consisted audio recordings of his own speeches. Yeah. Remember that? He gave Queen Elizabeth an iPod containing audio of his own speeches. He was a narcissistic jackass then. So, what do you think? I mean, what do you think went through the Queen's head when you get an iPod? Queen Elizabeth, thank you for having us. Pleasure to meet you. Here is an iPod, and on this iPod, there's audio of me and my speeches. Queen Elizabeth, what do you think? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're so gallant. Thank you. And then she probably threw it in the trash. Get rid of this. Give it to one of her lackeys. Get rid of this as soon as you can. I mean, come on, man. What a disgrace. Obama's been a disgrace from the beginning, but he will still be in Washington after the election is over. Obama's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to disappear to an island in Hawaii with that $4 million mansion that some investor gave him. A $4 million mansion. Talk about entitlements, right? He's not going to be there. His daughter is... our daughter's staying in high school in Washington. We want her to finish school here. That's his excuse. That's a good excuse for him. He's going to stay... You know he's going to be knee-deep in it. He's going to be knee-deep in the policy because Obama has officially superseded the Clintons as the next generation of Democrat, I don't even know what you call it, the next Democrat Camelot, you want to call it that, next Democrat family. You know, the Clintons were the one era. They're done. They're officially the final nails in the coffin with Hillary. That's it. It's over. She's not going to run again. She's 69 years old. That's done. By the time the next election rolls around, she'll be 75 or 74. Around there, 73 years old. You know, still very old to run for president. Could be done, but not her. She's already wobbling around as it is. Bill is getting long in the tooth now. The Bush, this election saw the death of a lot, believe it or not. This election saw the death of the Bushes. You got Rove on Fox News when they brought that up. Bill Hemmer actually brought it up 2 days ago. He said the destruction of the Bushes, they're done. The destruction of the Clintons, they're done. The next one is the Obamas. And you got Barack and his wife. Oh, I'm sure she'll try to run. That's a given. Expect that crap. They're already calling for it now. Michelle needs to run in 2020. I'm still wondering if she's proud of America now. Is she proud again? Is she still proud? Because the first time in her life, in her adult life, she was proud to be an American after Barack won. Is she still proud? Or will she no longer be proud now? She's going to hate America again because she still hates it. She always did. Never stopped. But you have the Obamas, and I mean, honestly, Donald Trump Jr. is a rising star. He's a rising star. The speech he made at the convention was very impressive. All sides were very impressed by his speech. And that could bode very well for him in the future. Could the Trumps be another dynasty? There's the word I was looking for some reason. Dynasty. Obama dynasty is on. The Bush and Clinton dynasty are gone. Now you have the Obama dynasty. Well, he doesn't have a son. His daughters could potentially run one day, but I don't think that's going to happen. They got to stop smoking the ganj first. Photos of them smoking the ganj. Then you had the Trump dynasty. I mean, you've got Donald J. Jr. You have Eric. You have Ivanka. Now, wouldn't you like to see Ivanka Trump really be the first female president? A very well-spoken, dignified woman, an intellectual woman, an educated woman be the president of the United States? Someone who's run a business, been a CEO? understands how to manage people, runs several businesses, helps run her father's business, and runs her own. She's fantastic. And she's a beautiful woman. Dignified, refined. She's got it all, man. She's what we need to represent this country. She's what we need. And she's not some hardened, the liberals have this theory that a woman must be, for a woman to be considered a strong leader, she has to be hardened and tough. And Hillary Clinton wearing these blocky pantsuits to make herself look like a man, it just doesn't work. If I'm going to have a woman run for president, why can't a woman running for president still be a woman? Why can't she? Why can't she be? I mean, Hillary Clinton tried really hard to convey that she's a woman. We all know by genetics she is. Through DNA, yes. But in her soul, she's not. In her soul, she doesn't believe that you can be feminine and be a woman. She doesn't own it. It's like either you're conservative or you're not. Like for conservatives, either you're conservative or you're not. If you are a conservative, as am I, you do not have to write down what you believe. I mean, if you want to have notes while you're reading a formal speech, that's one thing. But you don't have to write down what you believe as a conservative because you believe it. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. It is what you are. You can come and talk to me about what is conservatism, and I would do 3 hours on it. Very easily about how conservatism works and what it means for the American people and how important it is because it's an embodiment of my soul. And that's how conservatives work. And when you're a woman like Hillary Clinton, she has to constantly say, well, I'm a grandmother and I'm so proud of my kids. And she's got to talk about it and advertise the fact that she's a grandmom and that she's a mom. And you don't have to advertise that if people can see it. If it's part of you, it's there. They can tell. And Ivanka has that. She's a mom. She's got, 3 kids? 3 kids. She's a mom, a businesswoman. She's educated at the Wharton Business School. She's a CEO. And she's brilliant. And she's beautiful. But she doesn't rely on any one thing. It's all part of who she is. Hillary Clinton doesn't have that. Elizabeth Warren doesn't have that. Hell, she had to lie about being Native American. Pocahontas over there. But this is what the Trumps have. They have a potential dynasty on their hands. Potential. I'm not going to put the cart before the horse. But we have the Obamas. It's like the Obamas versus the Trumps for the future. 2 very, very divisive families. Who's next? Maybe New Independence. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that the Democrats, Obama's never going anywhere, and the Democrats just don't care. Obama's going to be there, and he's going to fight. See, they're going to play this game. And this is a game that Trump cannot fall into, that none of us can fall into the trap. It happens every time. When the Democrats lose, they are conciliatory for a minute. They are, first off, we have to work together. We have to unify this country. Okay, you want to do that until you win. And when you win, it's, I won. Get over it. Obama said that. Brought everybody in there and said, I won. Brought him into his office and said, I won. And got to get over it. People want me. That's it. And he forced his agenda on the country. Didn't try to work with Republicans. Even after the Republicans took back the House and Senate with a larger margin in 2012 or 2014, even after that, I remember reading Joe Biden and Barack Obama met with the Republican leadership, House and Senate. And Biden turns to them, because Biden's a career politician. He's been around the block for 30 some odd years, right? And he knows how the game works. And what usually happens when when the Republicans win control, the other side comes in and says, okay, what can we do to make this work? Because the whole objective is to make the presidency successful. That's what Clinton was. I give Bill Clinton credit for one thing. He was very smart when it came to that, very politically savvy. When the Republicans won control of the House and Senate back in 94, he worked with them. And a lot of stuff got accomplished in 2 years because he listened to what they were doing. He listened to their ideas. He took the contract with America and they implemented portions of that and they negotiated. But when it all came down, I remember they negotiated back and forth about the budget. He kept vetoing the budget over and over again. And then every time they put in changes, he'd veto those. And they finally came back to the original budget that the Republicans passed in the first place. So it was kind of, but at that point, he's made it seem like he had his hands all over it. Well, he really didn't. It was the exact same one. He just, took him 2 weeks to get to the original point again. So Biden reached out to those leaders in 2014. And he looked at me and went, okay, what do you guys want? What can we do? And Obama shot him a look. I remember reading this. Obama shot him a look. How dare you say that? And Obama said, nope, we're going to do it my way. That's how it's going to be. Because that's what Obama's all about. He's not about compromise. This new generation of Democrats is not about compromise. They're about destruction. They're about damaging this country. This is what they want to do. And they will never want to work with them. They're going to pretend like they do. They're going to be conciliatory and say we have to have unity. But when they're in charge, it's mandate. It's a mandate. We have a mandate. Just imagine if they had gotten control of the House and the Senate and won the presidency with Hillary in charge. It would have been the voice of the people have spoken. They know what they want, and we're going to do it. Well, guess what, guys? It's our time to do that. The voice of the people have spoken. Not only did they speak for the House and Senate this year, they spoke in 2012 or 2014. They spoke in 2010. Every year, every midterm, we've gained seats by the record numbers, especially 2010. It was huge. Huge. And they want, if they had control of that, they would have run roughshod. Well, we should run roughshod now. Now we should say, okay, let's roll. We have control of the House and Senate. The people have spoken. Move quickly. Force through our agenda. Get the stuff done that the people want to have done because the people spoke. That's why Trump was elected. The people have spoken. Done, man. Done. It's over. It's time to move. Stop reaching across the aisle and being nice because the Democrats will never do it. They pretend like they want to work with you. And a matter of fact, all they want to do is have you bend to their whims. They're hoping you'll compromise. So like Bush did, compromised on No Child Left Behind, that disgraceful piece of legislation with Ted Kennedy. No Child Left Behind, where failing students are allowed to just be pushed through high school and put into a world where they have no education and they aren't qualified for anything. That's what the No Child Left Behind Act is. This is what the Republicans always do. Well, it's a new breed of Republican. And they need to do what is the right thing to do, what the right thing is. And the right thing is to go with the will of the people and fight back and say, the hell with you, done. Go sit over there. Go suck your thumb because we're in charge now. We're in charge. It's like when mom and dad leave the house and you're put in charge of the house now. Usually they put one brother in charge. Now the other brother's in charge or the other sister's in charge now. All right, you're in charge of the house. Where we're going. All right, mom and dad said we're in charge. I'm in charge. So I'm boss. So you got to listen to me. That's how it is. The problem is Democrats are used to being the big brother and Republicans are used to being the little brother. The little brother who has to listen and emulates the big brother all the time. The little brother who's being teased all the time by the big brother's friends, meaning the DNC media. That's what happens. And the little brother doesn't think he's up to it. And he doesn't have the confidence. Well, we have it now. So stop cowering. We've owned this. Don't let Democrats get away with crap. They're going to try to protest and bitch and complain. Don't want to hear it. Speaking of protesting, the little kids running around. How pathetic is that? These little protesters, these wet-nosed babies who are screaming and crying because Trump won. because they didn't get their way. I didn't get my way, so I have to. I'm so upset. See, this is a culture of children who grew up always getting trophies. Think about this. Obama's been their president for 8 years. You got these knuckleheads in college who are what, 18, 19, 20 years old? Max 21 maybe, unless they're post-grad. Right? 21-year-old kid minus 8 is 13. Anywhere from 10 to 13 years old, 10 to 13, you had, or 12 to 13, well, 10 to 13, 8 years. 18 years old to 21. Anywhere from 10 to 13 years old, these kids knew nothing but Obama. And that's a very formative time, 10 to 13 years old. Very formative. You're not even a teenager. You haven't even hit puberty yet. And these kids grew up thinking that everyone's racist, thinking that bullying's terrible. We have to fight against bullying. Instead of standing up to bullies, we have to stop the bullying. We can't. So instead of standing up to bullies, you just hope the bullies stop. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. You keep getting trophies for everything just for participation. There's no winners and losers. We all get it. We are winners. We're all winners, kids. Bullcrap. These kids have been raised to be mealy-mouthed little pansies. And it shows. They didn't get their way. So they're going to cry and they're going to pout. And a lot of them, they're upset because they're going to lose their freebies. The handouts. Because it's not just kids that are there. There are some people who are just, your Hispanics, your illegals primarily, not your Hispanics. There's good Hispanic people in this country who came over here, who worked their asses off, who got a citizenship like everybody else, went through the process and did it the right way. Then you have your illegals who are upset because the gravy train's coming to an end, kids. Because now we're going to start enforcing the laws of this country. How about that? You mean you're getting free handouts all the time? Wait a minute. Maybe you should start working. Instead of giving you all the freebies to keep going. See, this is why Rush Limbaugh said this yesterday, and it makes perfectly good sense. The malaise of the 80s, under the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s, under Carter, there was a malaise at the time. And what the malaise is it's you're a laziness to the country. You're giving up on life. And the reason there was a malaise, unemployment was very high, and you only had unemployment money for a few weeks. You didn't have it very long, and then it would run out, and then you had nothing. So the fact that you had no job, the fact that you had no money, really hit home. Really hit home. You didn't have freebies and handouts. You didn't have all that stuff. You just didn't. You didn't have access to it. Not then. Then the Democrats really took over, in the 90s especially, and they exacerbated the situation. Now, especially under Obama and the catering establishment Republican rhino clowns, you had unemployment being funneled money and being extended for months and months. Or you have free health care, or you have food stamps for everybody, and government handouts, and free cell phones. Well, if you're a person with no job, but you still have money to pay all of your bills, and you still have money to get your groceries, and you still have money to buy things you need, and you can actually survive on your Social Security and your Medicare or Medicaid, and you can still survive on your food stamps. Where's your incentive to work if the government's still paying you for doing nothing? That's the problem. That's why the unemployment numbers now, the economy is really bad, but it doesn't feel as bad to some because they're taking the handouts, because they're getting freebies. So for them, where's the incentive to work harder? That's the whole point. You don't cut back on welfare and Medicaid or welfare and food stamps to be mean. You cut back on welfare and food stamps because the government can't afford it. The government can't. That's why the government's so broke. And the government can't afford it because it comes down and hurts the people in the long run. That's A. B, it hurts the person who's getting it. If you cut back on that little by little, the person who's getting it will say, okay, I know that in X amount of time, X amount of days, or X amount of months, I will be losing my money. And I have to do something to fix this. So they'll be very incentivized to get a job. That's what we want to have happen. And that's what these protesters are so afraid of. Their freebies are going to dry up. They're actually going to have to work for a change. I'm sure some of them do work, but how much are you working if you're out late protesting? Oh, you get to sleep in all day. Only reason they weren't protesting longer yesterday is because it was raining on the East Coast all day. Once it stops raining, they're like, oh, I'm out. I'm in it. Because God forbid they get wet. It's pathetic. This is what Obama has turned this country into, and this is why we've elected Trump. Because we are tired of the dependency generation. We're tired of the babies. We're tired of the wimps. We're tired of crybabies and cowards. We're tired of the mealy-mouthed little children who run around complaining about every little thing. We want you to work and fight through things and become stronger Americans to help this country as a whole. By helping yourself, you're helping this country. Because when you have a job, you actually are paying taxes, which helps the country. But what happens is these clowns don't want to get a job. They want the government to pay them, but they don't want to pay into the system. So they say, you're going to pay me, but I have no job, so I can't pay employment taxes. So I'll take money from you, but I won't give anything back. Oh, but I want all the rich people to give all their money or more of their money because that means I have to give less. Wrong. If all the people in this country were working and they all had jobs and the jobs paid well, they'd be paying more in taxes. And that money goes back into the government, which is why the 80s did so well. Everyone did well in the 80s. Not just the rich. Everybody did well in the 80s. Everybody. Don't believe the BS. No. Everybody who wanted, let me caveat that. Everybody who wanted to do well, who wanted to work, did well in the 80s. You're always going to have those who want to sit around and do nothing and play off the system and cry and complain and say how mean everybody is and how horrible it is and how terrible this government is and how no one cares for them. But they don't want to do anything to help themselves. Right now we have a country full of those people. But everyone did well in the 80s. And we could do it again, and we will. So, still waiting for Trump to go into the White House and meet with Obama and Michelle. Yuck, either way. But fortunately, it's just the yuck at the fact of just meeting those two it grates on me. And it's going to be so very disingenuous. Obama's a fraud. Everything he says, he's a total fraud. So he's got people snowed that he's classy, and he's far from it. He's a piece of garbage. But that's about to happen, and I am keeping my eyes on that one, and we'll be talking again later. So for today, this is New Independence Network. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.